Hello, how we doing? We all right? Yeah, good, good. Don't know why there's some pliers on the stage. Let me just move those out of the way. All right. Who's been to a Music Industry Monday before? Oh, right. Okay. Well, good you're here. For those of you who don't know, I'm JD from LCCM. I also double up as I'm director of an artist services company and also an artist manager. So I get a lot of requests from you lovely folk about what we're going to look at, what do you want to hear about. We did Spotify for Artists last year, but quite a lot of people don't really seem to know about Apple Music's offering, which is Apple Music for Artists. It's a bit more mysterious. So I thought within the next 15, 20, 30 minutes, I'll break it down for you. We'll go through some best practices. I'll give you my 5 top tips that I use as an artist manager with my clients. And then you can ask your questions and we can dig through it. Sound good? Yeah. Now, if you've got any questions at any point, we have some room mics, as in they should be picking up the sound of the room. So just ask your question really clearly and it will get picked up. Okay? Cool? Good. Okay, so just to do a quick survey of the room, who in here is an artist or a creator? Put your hand up. Properly put them up. Woo, yeah, damn. What about managers or working with an artist? Okay, cool. Well, that's great. That's a good split. Those of you that are artists, do you handle the distribution and like putting your music out and putting it together and looking after it, marketing it as well? Yeah? Some of you saying yes, some of you saying no? Okay. So ultimately, I think whether you're a manager or an artist, all of you should be understanding how to use a platform like this. If you're an artist, you probably don't want to fret and spend your life looking at data because that's not so useful for you. But you should still have an understanding of how the platform works. If you're a manager, you need to be like the stats genius. You need to be able to go in and understand what's happening where on the platform and how it's going to best work for your client. Yeah? Those of you that are artists and you don't have managers, and those of you that are managers that don't have artists, the whole point of this evening is you meet each other. It's a good little pool of you here today, actually. So, perfect. So, what do you need to know in the top 5 tips? Who uses Apple Music? Again, let's do a bit of a survey. Put your hands up if you use Apple Music. Okay. I'm going to pick on someone. Why do you use Apple Music? Speak up a bit. My mom gave it to me for free. Okay, that's a terrible reason. Okay, someone give me a real reason. Okay, who's one of the managers? Any managers in here use Apple as their primary streaming platform? Oh, bad idea. Yeah, go on, Evan.
I use Apple. They said it was very reliable.
Okay, it's a better quality of listening, I think most of us would agree. Cool, okay, cool. Apple Music pay a better royalty rate than Spotify. Definitely, someone at Spotify is going to hate me for this. They pay a better royalty rate. So if you're a manager, you need to be thinking about ways you can get your artists doing more on Apple Music for Artists. If you're an artist, you need to be thinking about ways you can jack your stuff with Apple. Everyone's aware of Spotify, and most people are aware of Spotify for Artists, which is their platform. Yeah, okay. So Spotify have always done a big push about, okay, we're going to do better for artists, la, la, la. Maybe they feel guilty because they don't pay you very much. I don't know. I think they do a great job. There's a lot of resources. Apple have always kept themselves sort of closed off. Yeah? Spotify for Artists, you can pitch your music to streaming editors. People aware of that? You know, there's that function, you can pitch your track and before it comes out. Apple Music can't really do that. I mean, you can, sort of, but not openly. So that means you need to do a better job of raising your profile and using the platform before, okay? So this is even more critical because there ain't no sort of quick cheat, okay? Ooh, that's cool. So I struck a deal with one of my clients. He said I can use all his data today for you to all look at and analyze if you scan that QR code. That's the deal. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on. And if some of you don't have Apple Music for Artists, you're about to get it, because where's that going to go to? Apple Music. Apple Music are not paying me to do this. Cool. Okay. All right. So this is my artist, lovely Peter Sandberg. He's a Swedish classical composer, one of the biggest classical pianists in the world. We've just passed last week over 500 million global streams on Spotify. So that's 500 million streams. He's independent. He's signed to Sony Music for publishing, but he has no major record label. So what does that mean? Me and him did all the stuff to get it there between the two of us. What's more interesting, though, as I say, he's done really well on Spotify. What's happened more recently, his stuff on Apple has really picked up because we've really worked our hardest to try and get going on the platform. Look, I'm not Matthew Knowles, and we're not talking about Beyonce, but this is someone who was, 5 years ago, sat in the same position you were, just starting out. It's totally feasible to get to this position. February, on Saturday, we passed 9 million all-time plays on the platform. That's not a huge amount, but for an independent artist, that's quite a lot. His deal terms are very favorable. He's not on some terrible major label deal where he's getting 13% of everything after recoup. Yeah? So he's in a good spot. So this is how the platform looks. It's pretty straightforward. You've got a few tabs at the top. So you've got, here he is here. This is him. Hey, Peter. You've got measure, promote, artist content, and then your account. You can even see I get little messages up here on my account here. I'm going to tell that to go away now. Goodbye. Cool. So that's the main headers at the top, so you can filter through those. So if I go into promote, that's a new feature they released this week, and we'll get into that. Artist content, we'll get into that. But we're going to start here. This is your main dashboard, your overview section. It automatically presents things in the past 4 weeks, okay? But I can click on that and choose any date range that I like. Weeks, months, years. So if I go years, I can go to any years. If I go to range, I can go lifetime. And we can change that very quickly. Average daily listeners, he has 2.9 thousand. Song purchases, 7.1 thousand. Shazams, 297,000 Shazams. Okay. Who owns Shazam? Apple. Apple. Okay. So that's your main dashboards. If you go down here a bit, you can see some milestones, like I'm saying. I can click on those and go into each track. Then this is the cool thing. Just like Spotify, you can go down to a global heat map here. Now, this becomes very, very useful when we're thinking about planning tours and tour routing. Okay? Now, this is lifetime, so I can see that LA, New York, London, interestingly, Japan and Seoul in Korea have been his big hotspots. He's a neoclassical artist. What does that say? We know that Peter's music is truly global. He isn't part of, a sort of sub-niche of music. And when I say sub-niche, I'm being really broad. I'm talking about Latin or drill or something. That's not going to be big in Japan. Not right now, at least. Hopefully it does. It's going to be different. It's a different market. Obviously, this is lifetime, so I can look at that generically, but as we said, go back up the top here, I can go and filter by a much smaller date span, all right? If you go down here, you can start looking at your playlists. So we know we've had lifetime plays, Piano Chill, which is one of Apple's big editorial playlists, had 935,000 plays on that, and I can see all of these here. And then we can start breaking down again some of those bigger things at the top into more generic data sets. So we can break down track by track. And at the very bottom here, Apple now do something called Apple Motion, which is their version of music videos. This is only more recent, and his indie label that he's signed to only distributed these in the last 6 months or so. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't watch music videos on Apple. Why would I do that? Because I don't. I don't know. No, well, look, 148 people. We've had how many millions of streams and blah, blah, blah? No one watches. I think we all go and watch music videos on YouTube, or if we even watch music videos anymore. Yeah, so that's the main dashboard. Makes sense? Pretty straightforward. What I would say the key thing is, if I'm thinking as a manager, now everyone's on their own journey in this room. Some of you are thinking about you're playing your first shows in London. Some of you are thinking about you're playing your first shows in the UK. With Peter, we're thinking about playing shows internationally. We're also thinking, before we even get to playing shows, about marketing. Yeah? And where are you going to focus your campaigns? So How do we know where to look for that information? We go into trends. Eventually, come on. We'll get there. Wow, bingo. So this is where we can get much more granular with the data. Now we can see we've had some big spikes at certain points, okay? And at certain points, I know what's been happening. As you can see before that, we weren't really active on this platform at all. What happened in August? No, actually, Peter's music was featured in Stranger Things. He was in the climactic scene of Stranger Things. Why do we have so many Shazam hits? Because people are like, oh my God, what's this beautiful piano music in the back of this? Shazam. Not quite like the guy from the film, but close enough. There we go. So we know where that spike is at. So we can look back, but we can also predict. So if I filter this again, let's go. So we're currently in an album cycle. We released the first piece of music just before Christmas. So if we go past 12 weeks, I can start. There we go. So it's a little bit. So we can see we're on a real massive climb, which is great. So that's a 14% rate of increase. It's quite good. What's his highest played tracks? That's a new single. That's a new single. This is the one that was on Stranger Things. This is one of his all-time biggest tracks. This one was, I don't know if anyone saw the recent Prince's Trust campaign with Ashley, can't remember his second name now, Ashley Walters, the actor. Yeah, Peter's track was underpinning that album, that ad campaign as well that was played in cinemas and stuff, and it was that track Motion there. So the change has actually gone down, but if I go back further into last year, we see they go up. So as a manager, my job is to basically nerd the fuck out and look at all this stuff and dig into as much data as I possibly can. How do I feel? I can filter by playlist, by location, by gender, and by age. Interesting. Okay, so he's a classical piano, okay? What do you think the biggest age listenership for his music is? So you're saying older, 45 older? You're saying... So if we go 18 to 24, we can see a reasonable increase, minus 5%. If I filter that by lifetime, 1.4 million of his plays have come from the youngest age category. If I filter by the category above, 2.4 million. If I go the category older, 2 million. So what's going to be the biggest category here, we think? No, it's actually going to be, my man here at the front, he's right. It's the mid-20s. So, okay, so we're like, okay, that's interesting. That's quite different for what you would all expect. So all of those of you who are thinking about, okay, am I going to make softer, sort of more ambient music? You're in for a good treat. We can also filter by gender. Unfortunately, Apple at this point does not have a non-gender specific category, which I think needs to change fast, and I think they will update that. We can see that within that category, that men actually account for more of the split. It's only fractional. So you can see very, very quickly how you can get very granular with this. So when we're putting a marketing campaign together, you've got to think of where you're targeting your marketing at. So you've got to think demographics, so age, where, geographic, location, and then further filters, gender, what they might be doing with their time. What, you've got to do that artist, that persona of a fan. That really helps us target our marketing. We know that predominantly his fans only just are within an age group which is under, I think I can add these. Can I add these? No, I can't. We know that it's predominantly a younger audience. If we now go by location, so if I go city, here we go. It's already arranged our top cities for us. I can also go by country or region. I can go by continent. If I'm thinking we've got a show coming up in London, right? So we've got a show coming up on the 5th of April. So in So in the past 4 weeks, London has generated 7.8 plays. But that's not a huge amount in the total scheme of things, is it? But that's a 224% increase. Okay, so don't get too kerfuddled, but this is one streaming platform. My job as a manager, working with his indie label, which is Believe, by the way, and I nearly had their audience development person come, but she was too busy. We've got to collate all this information. I don't go around doing that. I have one big thing that gets it from, but that is what fuels our marketing activity. We've also got to think, Apple Music, this is great to see. We know who's using Apple Music. How do we target that audience more effectively? Yeah? So there's like a myriad of things you've got to think of, but try and break it down. Does anyone have any questions for me at this point? Yeah.
Okay.
Speak up, speak up.
We don't have the Apple account at the moment, but we do upload our song onto Apple over the years. So if I go into the Apple account for my artist, will all of this past sales and past plays be counted in his?
Should be.
Okay.
iTunes became Apple Music. So when it says purchases, you can still purchase music on Apple Music, but it's not iTunes anymore. It's just Apple Music. Yeah.
I just want to say, if you distribute on SoundCloud, which I realize they sync your Apple or with your, so there is a must, or you won't be able to release your track. So this is a good platform to try using.
Cool. See, this is the whole point of this session, share knowledge. Okay, so we've done trends. I mean, I can even filter by song here. I said, so you can, it's almost like if you think you have a graph, yeah? You have this axis and this axis. You can filter here and you can filter here. What does that mean when you filter both? You get really pinpointy in the middle, yeah? All right. Some of you who are artists, you might be thinking, oh man, this is like, that's why I go and get a manager. But you should also definitely have an understanding of this. If you want to really understand your audience, and I say it's really important for artists. This is why Peter has access. He sits and looks at this stuff. Maybe not so much. His music is quite different. If you're a pop act, you want to know who you're speaking to. So if you're like, actually, my fans are sort of more weighted towards 25 to 34, maybe that age group is not going to be as active on TikTok as 18 to 24. Okay. So if we just keep it Apple Music specific for now, if we go through the next tab, it's a bit slow. Okay, there we go. So we can really get into detail here. I think this is reasonably easy to understand. It comes to play for us because we're trying to run marketing campaigns to ultimately sell tickets on a live tour. Peter's live activity, his footprint isn't that big at this point for now. We mostly do Europe. We haven't done a show in the US yet, but we're talking. We haven't done a show in Japan yet, but we're talking. But the more information I have, the more the promoters are going to get on board in those locations and be like, okay, cool. So I can, Norway, Sweden, Finland. Let's pick a really obscure country we didn't think of. Gabon, 6 plays. Cool. No Shazams, though. Namibia, 1 Shazam. Come on, let's go. I'd love to know of an artist that's played in Namibia. Probably no one. Okay. You can zoom in as well and zoom out. Then it gets to your music. Yes, this is where all your music is organized. So you can see here we've got 113 songs. Now, if you actually go and look up Peter's catalog, you'll find that lots more of his catalog is on other streaming services. So his previous label did not distribute to every platform. It was a strategy. We're going back a few years. That's why he has hundreds of millions of plays on Spotify, because they distributed to Spotify only. Interesting. They then brought the other ones online. So again, I can see here, so Orion 3 is his most recent release. Very nice, beautiful piano track, cool artwork. So I can go right down into this. Here we go. See, again, it splits it down. So again, it splits it into that 4 sections. Remember, if you go to your overview, the same. Yeah? We can see where it is in the playlist. We can see top cities, top Shazam cities. Again, nothing massive, but this only came out the start of the month. I can also swap between tracks. Okay. Okay, so that's how it looks. That's the dashboard. That's the overview. Any questions before we move on to the next bit? Yeah.
In terms of the purchases, what is that referencing?
That's referencing to people that have actually paid for a download. Unbelievably. Rather than just streaming it. You've gone and gone, oh, I'll pay 99p for your single. When was the last time anyone did that in this room? Okay, one person recently. Okay, okay, cool, a couple of you. That's good. Thank you to those people because you're actually paying artists. Thank you. That makes 2 good people out of a room of, 31 of us who haven't. Okay, so that's Apple Music for Artists, an overview. So how do you sign up? You can go, very easy, go and find Apple Music for Artists. What it will ask you to do is paste your artist link that you can get from Apple Music or iTunes or whatever. You can just go and paste that in, and you'll have to fill in a few details. It's not as easy as Spotify, but it's still pretty straightforward to do. So if you're releasing music, go and sign up. No, this is totally free. Totally free. It costs you money to have Apple Music, but the back-end platform here is free. Okay. Well, so don't forget, if you aren't actually signed to a label and you distribute your own music, what are you all? Your own labels. Yeah, you're the master rights holder. So you don't have to be connected to one. Yeah. All right. Okay, so before we move on to the new features, I'm just very quickly going to pop into artist content. So this is where I can see all my other artists here. So we can actually see the upcoming single is already here. I can add lyrics. I don't need to do that for Peter because obviously there are no lyrics. We can see everything arranged here, all the previous catalogue. We can see the videos, etc. What you can do, which is quite interesting, and this is Apple Music's new feature, or it's always been around, it's called Apple Music Marketing, all right? Is, if I hit these 3 dots, promote this song, view analytics, I can switch. So promotion is a new thing. But there's also other stuff you can do. So before we move to the new feature, we'll go into marketing. So if I just quickly flick out of that so I can change window. So Apple Music has marketing tools. So if I go back here, so there's a multitude of things you can do. So this is something you have to go outside of Apple Music and go onto desktop and do it this way. If I go back to the main page, eventually, I go back again, Apple Music marketing tools. All right, so I can go and do that. Link builder, marketing colors, blah, 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 blah. So Peter Sandberg, there he is. I want to go and create something. So I go to his most recent single. Here we go, here's this track, Orion 2. Now what the DSPs, the streaming platforms, are starting to do is they've clocked that certain people listen to certain streaming platforms. Who's familiar with like a pre-save or a link fire or something like a link tree? Yeah? So that's where you have multiple links. I don't know about you, if I click on someone's link that has multiple streaming services, I'm already bored because I've had to click 3 times before I've got anywhere. I'm not going to click again. Your job when you're thinking as marketeers, people's attention span when you're watching a 7-second TikTok or a 2-second preview before it goes to the next thing is in seconds. So if you have to click on a link tree and then scroll to find not only the track maybe, and then within that streaming platform, you've clicked 4 times and it's game over. I've probably hit X on the pop-up thing on Instagram already. Do we have time for that? No, not really. Is it bad? Yeah, probably. So what the streaming platforms have clocked is that if we make streaming platform-specific promo assets or marketing solutions, then people will go and find that. So if you were to go onto an artist's stories and find the Apple Music specific thing, are you more likely to click it if you like Apple Music? Yeah. You won't click away. You might click to the next story to see if there's one for your favorite streaming platform. Yeah, makes sense? So this is what Apple have recently started doing. So if I go to Orion 2 here, I've then got a multitude of options. This is all very, very, very complicated. Don't worry about that. We'll just go past that. This is the content link. this is a tracking link. I can generate a short link to the actual track. Yeah? No. We're talking about marketing at this point. So that's a tracking link. This is very, very nerdy marketing stuff. Short link, generate a short link to the exact track on Apple Music. Preview player. You know, like how you have a SoundCloud track and you can embed it on your blog or your website or something like that? Same deal here. I can copy the embed link. I can paste it. I can choose what color. I can have it light. I can have it dark. And you can embed this little player. So you can even get a preview. So it's quite nice. This gives you a whole full 30 seconds as well. Right? Then it will come up with that pop-up. Cool. That's a cool little thing you can use on your website. Badges and lockups. Choose options. Hit that. You can see the link popping. There you go. And that's with all the tracking links at the bottom. See that popping up? You can download different sets. App icon. What did I do earlier? Generated a QR code to make sure that you followed him. Let's say you're doing a live show. You want to push Apple Music because you know the majority of your fans listen to you on Apple. What are you going to do with the venue? Bingo. When we played in Berlin, I figured out, are his fans going to listen to him on the streaming service, or are we going to drive sign-ups for Patreon? I had a look at the data on every streaming platform, figured out that Berliners were more likely to pay a subscription fee to Patreon, smacked us QR code, stuck it on the wall of the venue. We had 4 new Patreon subscribers by the next morning. Old school marketing tricks still work. The same thing will go the other way. You can even you can directly link this to Twitter. You can make these Twitter cards the same deal. This one's 1 minute, 30 seconds. La. It's pretty handy, isn't it? You can do that with any track or with his entire artist page, and for all you as well. All right. Any questions on that? Thank you. Cool. Is that a question or a statement? Cool. Thanks, man. I pass. Okay, final bit we're getting to. So, where is it? Aha, yes, back in here. See, I'm only just getting to grips with this myself. So this came out last week, which is Apple Music for Artists' new promote feature. So they've basically put, I was just saying about specific streaming specific cards. You can now create these. You can get really customizable. So here we go, latest releases already figured out. I can go in and customize this. I can customize it for anything. You can share a milestone. Like we got added to this playlist, so they have absolutely no idea what that is. Is that supposed to be the moon? I don't know. Whatever. Oh no, come back. Okay, so let's say, I don't know, a bit bored of done that now. Let's go, I like this track bit, Jake. Yeah. It's just promote. It's in the main artist, it's on either on the iOS app, it's in that. It's on and it's also in the bar at the top. So measure is this page, and then promote is at the top. Okay, so let's go and make something pretty quick. It's a track from a few years ago. Now, Apple have partnered with Linkfire, which is one of these short link services, yeah? So you can see you've got the link.to there. So we can build and customize this. We can totally customize how this looks. So I can click on that. Here we go. I can completely change this. So I can choose whatever. Do we want his image? I don't know. What do we think? Cover art, probably a bit nicer. Sorry, Peter. There you go. It's too late. He's probably watching the stream. It's too late now. He knows what he signed up for when he signed the contract. Cool. So I can go and do that. That's obviously been orientated for portrait for 916, square, landscape. Cool. You've also got an animated version here as well. All right. So you can do that. Let's say we just recently got this piano playlist. I can do the same thing. Okay, I'm bored. Spinning wheel of death. Time to move on. So the final step is artist content. So this is your artist profile. So this is where you can build everything. Now, Apple Music is a bit funny on image guidelines. You have to have it has to be a certain thing, it has to fit. You have to have the eyes and the mouth within a certain 2 layers of bars, which is a bit much, but whatever. You can see he actually uploaded the new photo himself. Always good to use the platform. They've recently added, this is a new addition, biography. You can actually add an artist bio. Genre, they've automatically selected a soundtrack or classical crossover. You can also do a Q&A. Now, we haven't done this because it's recent and also we think it's a little bit kitschy for what Peter's music is, but anyone's welcome to. And then collaborations. We've done quite a few collaborations. So Aquilo, Arctic Lake, Jake Isaac, Siv Jakobsen, Henry Green. You can add musical influences. And then editors. Now, as I said, the editorial team at Apple is quite hard to contact because you can't contact them unless you have a sort of way. But, if they want to pick your music, they'll find it. But I don't know. Apple don't have any of this pay for play like some others. They're pretty cool. So if we have a quick look at image guidelines, supported file sizes, here we go. That's what I'm talking about. You have to follow that. No pixelated images, same thing. No, don't ever do that. All right. If we go back there. Now, we have a new single coming out. I was like, maybe we should upload the new photo, but decided not to because it's not coming out yet. I was going to do that live. So you can leave that. It's so straightforward, but it's still quite useful. Okay, so times are ticking. So to wrap this up, these are my top 5 tips that I've, as an artist manager, that I would say to you as artists and managers and or businessy people that you should follow on Apple Music for artists and Apple Music in general, okay? So number 1, my top 5 tips. Number 1, you want to keep your profile fresh and updated. Complete the Q&A section, add your lyrics and add a new photo. Top tip number 2, use your audience data to inform marketing decisions. Yeah, don't just aimlessly start running Instagram or Facebook ads if you don't know who you're targeting. Use that data. Number 3, use the new promotion tools for direct links and assets. And remember that Apple pays better. So drive people to a service that pays you well. Number 4 would be embed the small player on your site or your blog. And the last one, hiding behind the grand piano, Shazam. The power of Shazam is really big. Apple run their own editorial playlist for big Shazam tracks. Shazam actually have their own playlist. Cool. Okay, so I guess it's that time of the evening. We've done this pretty quick. I'm happy to answer any Apple-y, music-y, for artisty questions. That's all. Yes, because you match the branding. If you've got a question, please say it nice and loud so the room mics pick you up. So everyone watching back, obviously it's recorded, can see as well.
How do you get to the marketing assets again?
Promote. It's the promote tab here. Okay, the other one, that is, I believe, it's going to be tools.applemediaservices.com. Good question, because I didn't really even know. I just know where it is. It's saved as a bookmark. I'll get out of the way. Cool, okay. Any other questions? At the back, speak up nice and loud. What's the bit about Shazam? Would you want me to say my point again? So Shazam obviously is a very good driver. It's for trending music, yeah? So Apple takes that Shazam data and it looks at it and goes, oh, that track's blowing up. Just like how something blows up on TikTok, apart from Apple owns Shazam. Yeah? So they will promote stuff within Apple Music for Artists or Apple Music. Shazam also has its own editorial team. I've tried to get the people in before, and I think they eventually might come in one day. So it's good that you know this now before we have Music Industry Mondays with Shazam and you ask them all the wrong questions. Cool. Any more? No questions are bad questions, folks.
So the link is in this page. That just
What link?
the link that you showed me, you have to copy.
Oh, you mean the promotional asset for you to use? Yeah, you can go and explore it. I mean, one thing I would say on this, with Apple Music, you can get the app for your phone, and you can get it on desktop here, like I have it. I like working on desktop because I can see it on my big screen, and I have too many things on my phone. I don't want to be using my phone every hour of the day, but it's just nice to see it in here. But Apple Music for Artists, if you're on desktop, is artist.apple.com, I believe. Yep. So you can go there and get set up. Any fun? Yeah.
The good thing about Apple for Artists is that you can do everything directly with the platform. But for Spotify, I think you need to go through a different.
No. For Spotify for Artists, you can use it. You can use Spotify for Artists. Who would like me to do one of these, but for Spotify for Artists? Yeah? Okay, a few of you. Some of you feel more confident. Okay, I'll do it. That was more than half of you. Sorry, everyone else. So Apple Music for Artists, you can go direct. Spotify for Artists, you can also go direct. Now, some of them, where'd he go? Michael. Hi. He's moved. That's so disconcerting. Like he said about, I know, man. That's what he said about SoundCloud. Is like some will partner with, just like you're saying. So DistroKid, for example, you can get set up on Spotify for Artists before your music's come out. But DistroKid's terrible. So don't use it. No, it's okay. It's all good. We'll get to distributors another time. Just got to pick the right ones. But yes, some of them have direct links into, but you can set yourself up on any one of them. Apple's a bit harder. You do need to submit additional details, but then maybe it's a bit more powerful than Spotify in some ways. Yeah.
About uploading the songs, there is any format you have?
Okay, so this is not distribution. You'll need to use a distributor to upload your music. Completely different. This is looking at it once it's come out. Cool. Okay, one more. Yeah.
Besides being on playlists, what are other features that maybe certain artists need to reach a certain level to get them?
Anyone that's on Apple Music for Artists will be able to see all this data. You're able to see everything. No one needs to clear a certain hurdle to get the promote or the marketing content. Apple has opened that up to everyone now. Didn't used to be that way, but it's changed very recently. Which is why this is Music Industry Mondays. We do something that's happened very fast. So everyone is like right on top of it. That's why you should all come every Monday. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to call it there. So please, if you're here, please, and you don't know people, swap details. There are some amazing, talented producers, managers, and artists in this room. I know that because I know most of you. Please swap. This is the whole point of this event. If you're going to play at the open mic, I know we have 4 people that are actually going to record and take away their music today for a fee. We have that facility with our amazing camera team. If you want to perform at the open mic, sign up in advance, and you can actually take away your recordings of your 2-track performance. You can take away the raw footage for 30 quid, which is a bargain. Because when you figure out how much these goes out for and how much this equipment costs, you'll have a heart attack like me live on stage. So do go for that. We'll do Spotify for Artists. If you have any ideas, please come and speak to me because I'd love to break this down for all of you. No idea is a bad idea. We're putting together our full lineup for the next, all the way to June, by the way. These aren't going to stop because we're either getting, JD, Ipek, can you do this? Or we're just thinking of more ideas. These are just going to keep going until we run out of road. Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers.